Good morning, guys. Welcome to day 146 until I'm a YouTube millionaire. And I've got a smattering, a medley of things that I want to discuss this morning. The first one is the concept of heating and throttling on YouTube. So, YouTube has, of course, as you might suspect, of course, they know how to use their algorithm in the back end. Duh. A means by which they can heat a YouTube channel and a means by which they can throttle YouTube channels. So currently, it seems that YouTube has quite the desire to heat channels of attractive 24-year-old women, throttle channels of standard white dudes like myself, and also heat channels of homunculi. If you know what a homunculi is, it's a perfectly formed miniature human being. So a normal human being that's just small. I have an idea as to why that might be. It's probably because they're trying to back end encourage lower energy consumption or something to that effect. Maybe there's a future that they want to see and they're trying to encourage it. But a lot of really big creators on YouTube are not very big people, like physically. I'm thinking specifically of the finance and investing and money side of YouTube. Thinking specifically of a couple rather large creators. But I don't know, I just wanted to mention that real quick. This is going to be a smattering, rather random today, because I just have a lot of thoughts going through my head. But I also wanted to give you guys the stack to maximize your energy, your wakefulness, your productivity. First thing, obviously, caffeine. Now, everybody has different sensitivities to caffeine. I personally have a very high sensitivity to caffeine. However, in taking Prozac, that has actually allowed me to consume more caffeine without getting the jitters, without getting high anxiety. And to that point, Prozac in and of itself, I never have been a late riser. I've always woken up really early in the day. But Prozac allowed me to get up even earlier. I remember when I first started taking it many years ago, and I wasn't taking warfarin, which fatigues you. I was getting up at 4:30 in the morning without any issues because my serotonin was balanced properly, and I was going to bed about 9-ish, right around there, because I just don't like staying up late. There's no point in it. Why stay up late? Only bad things happen at night. There are rare instances where you're just trying to let loose and have a good time. Like, for instance, when I'm out at the Atlantis with my parents and we're having a few drinks and just hanging out, having a good time. Yeah, sure, there are instances for that, but those are not supposed to be every night. They're supposed to be fun experiences. So I would get to bed at about 9:30 or so, 9, and end up getting about 7.5 hours of sleep. Prozac allowed me to get quality sleep as well as the appropriate amount of sleep and getting up early. Since I started taking that, I have not had trouble with sleeping. I never really had trouble with it to begin with, but it's even better now. So, caffeine, because I do that and because I weigh 215 pounds, 6'1", I can consume about 500 to 700 milligrams of caffeine per day without causing too much of an issue. But you got to make sure that you do that before noon, especially if you're very sensitive to caffeine. If you drink or consume caffeine after noon, you're going to have trouble getting to sleep. The next one, acetyl L-CARNITINE. Acetyl L-CARNITINE is a fat metabolism upregulator. It operates upon a different pathway to boosting your energy. But the primary thing that I like about acetyl L-carnitine, it's a very good supplement, is that it improves your memory. This is something that everybody needs. But when you already have a pretty powerful mind, it amplifies how much it helps. So I take, what is it, about 2,000 milligrams per day of that. And you can, about 15% of what you take orally is bioavailable. So I'm getting roughly 300 milligrams or so that my body's actually absorbing. And it boosts your alertness, it boosts your memory, it boosts your fat metabolism, so your body more efficiently burns fat as opposed to other macronutrients. It's just overall a really good thing. Highly recommend it. It is not expensive. You can find it on Amazon for like $17 for a bottle of, I think, 90. Something like that. Very, very good stuff. Then, methylene blue. This stuff is extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. It is a basically mitochondria upregulator, if you want to call it that. It was at first used as a fabric dye, but you can consume it and it makes your mitochondria more efficient. The mitochondria within your cells, the powerhouse of the cell, as everybody's made to know or learn in biology. It's like probably the only thing that people mostly remember from all their biology classes of high school, but it's a very good thing. It also operates as a mood booster in that it is, in its own right, a serotonin regulator, a lot like Prozac. So you have to actually be careful with it, because if you take too much of it, then it could give you serotonin syndrome, which gives you the jitters and makes you feel sick and all that stuff, so you got to be careful. So 5 milligrams per day for a person like 150 pounds, 5 days per week is going to be fine. You could even go up to 10 milligrams per day and you'll probably be okay. But because I already take Prozac, I only take 5 milligrams of methylene blue 5 days per week, usually. And that does the trick for me. I actually combine this methylene blue with SUPERBEETS. SUPERBEETS are a vasodilator, a very, very powerful one. Almost as powerful as Cialis or Viagra. That's how powerful SUPERBEETS are. And since I've been taking those every day, you mix about 10 grams of SUPERBEETS with 12 ounces of water or so. And I also put this in that same 12 ounces of water, because this doesn't really have any effect on the flavor if you do that. And today, I even put a little bit of this in it. Actually, I did the black cherry taste, but this is Mio Energy. It's got some caffeine in it, as well as B vitamins. It's really good stuff. And it made for a really good energy booster. And because I have peripheral vascular disease, aka crucifixion disease, aka stigmata, no or very few poor arteries in my distal arms and legs, it's invaluable to me that I have very powerful vasodilators to make it so that the blood can get to my legs and arms better. I feel a dramatic effect from it. So not only are my cells more efficiently absorbing said oxygen through the mitochondria booster, but I'm also getting more blood there through the vasodilators. And the hope is that these vasodilators will actually allow my distal arms and legs to more effectively reproduce collateral arteries, so that I can have permanent better circulation and maybe even eventually get back to running on the treadmill or running outside in several years. Pray to God. Pray to God. Because I used to be a marathon runner and I want to get back to that if I can. And then, beta-ecdysterone. I take 1,500 milligrams of beta-ecdysterone every day, and you will not feel the effect of it like immediately or obviously just hanging out. But if you decide to do any type of physical activity, you're gonna feel it because you're gonna have a shit ton more endurance. Like, let's say you're bench pressing 185 pounds. Instead of doing 6 reps, you, no joke, will be able to do 12. It's awesome. Beta-ecdysterone is a fantastic supplement. It is a estrogen beta receptor upregulator, and estrogen, while the man doesn't need as much of it proportionally relative to testosterone as a woman does, he still does need it. It both boosts sex drive as well as strength if you have a good amount of it. If you have too much of it, then it's going to viralize and start making you grow titties and stuff. But, you know, that's like, you need a metric crap ton of it to do that. And the beta receptor is not that thing that makes you viralize and get secondary female characteristics. Now, to that point, women, believe it or not, actually need some testosterone as well. Not much. Both your adrenal glands and the male's testes produce testosterone. The male's testes produce like 10 to 20 times as much testosterone, sorry, doggos, as the adrenal glands. But the female species does need testosterone. So let's say that your adrenal glands produce about 25 to 50 nanograms per deciliter, and your testes produce about 500 to 1,000-ish, right around there. Free testosterone as opposed to bound testosterone aside. A female, in order to have a proper sex drive, yes, needs testosterone. Not a huge amount, but let's say that you get your testosterone levels up to 60 nanograms per deciliter as a female. You're not going to viralize. You're not going to get secondary male characteristics from that, but you're going to have a very powerful sex drive. So, something to consider for those who, of the female species, might have a low sex drive or low energy and are trying to figure out why. That could be why. Apologies for the dogs. So, that is generally what I take in a given day for my energy boosters. In addition, it's the type of caffeine that you consume. Not just the 400 to 600 whatever milligrams of caffeine for a guy my size, but also the type of caffeine. So if you're going to drink coffee, coffee has, laughing gas in it, or the equivalent, like NO2, or I forget exactly what the chemical compound is, nitrogen dioxide, all right? And that is itself a vasodilator. It improves your mood and does a plethora of other things. Now, if you're going to consume something like a Rockstar energy drink or other energy drinks, which are not bad, as long as you have them in moderation, you're careful with them, you can do that safely. They typically have a lot of B vitamins in them, which are really good for your alertness, and a bunch of other things. Yeah. There's a lot of things that you can do to improve your wakefulness. I have other things, but this is a good start. If you're really tired all the time, maybe even a little bit down, try it. And the great thing about PROZAC, which I think actually is an underutilized compound, personal opinion, not simply for serotonin modulation, but also because it just does a lot of really good things aside. There's evidence to show that it can actually stem the effects of Alzheimer's. It clears the amyloid plaques in the brain that cause Alzheimer's and dementia. That's what the science is kind of starting to suggest. So PROZAC is some good stuff. I like it. I like it a lot. Not simply because it makes you feel better. and it regulates your serotonin. So look into it. I got more. Remember, guys, I'm not a doctor, all right? I have a master's in electrical engineering, but I'm not a medical doctor. This is just the stuff that I take and how it works for me. I hope you get something good out of it. So, love y'all. Peace.